let's just get this out of the way to get started, okay? I am not a charter school advocate. I'm not a traditional schools advocate. I'm not a private school advocate, none of it. I don't love any system. I just simply love our people. And in loving our people, I want every single option possible to be on the table. Right now, one of those options, which happens to be charter schools, is under attack. What's good, people? I'm Dr. Charles Cole III, back again with some more common sense because common sense ain't all that common these days. But let's rewind. Let's start at the beginning. See, 1994 was a very different time. That's when bipartisan majorities in Congress established the Federal Charter Schools Program, which has sent $6 billion to date to innovate. What they wanted to do was innovate new local school models around the country. What are some new things we can do? How can this thing look different? Otherwise known as charter schools. A move like that feels impossible in the 2022's education politics. Things are just crazy right now. In fact, 2022 politics have turned charter school programs into a bit of a political battle. Let's say political football. In the spring, President Joe Biden's administration proposed new regulations on the money that will make it harder for charter schools to qualify for the funds. Well, what do those rule changes propose? Very glad that I asked that question. They would eliminate federal dollars for for-profit charter schools. They would encourage charters to prove that they can help desegregate children's schools experiences. And they require new charters to show unmet demand by showing that traditional public schools already in the area are overcrowded. Listen, you won't hear any complaints from me about withholding funds from schools that profit off of their students. So for-profit charters, I have no love for you, no sympathy at all. But the other rule changes place undue burden on would-be charter operators, holding charters to a standard that they don't even hold traditional schools to. They've never held traditional public schools to these standards, and ask me how I know. Because those are the only type of schools that I went to in my entire life. A new question is, well, how so? How are they gonna do that? For one thing, it's next to impossible for any school to desegregate student experiences in a given neighborhood. This is because American cities remain extremely segregated places, with generations-old housing policies creating much of the problem. A school cannot fix this problem. It is completely unreasonable to expect that a new charter school would do the desegregation work that policymakers and zoning experts must actually do, that things that they've promised to do for so long, especially if you're not going to demand the same from traditional schools where many of them have been failing Black kids for the last 50 plus years. And that's me being very, very nice. It's been much longer than that. As for the topic of unmet demands, these proposed rules would effectively bar any place with a declining population from establishing a new and more innovative school for kids who remain. This is because a declining population leads to fewer kids attending schools in the area. This impacts places like my beloved Oakland, California, where gentrification has been kicking Black people out for the last 30 years. Not directly tied to charter schools, and if you say that, you are telling a lie from the pits of Hades, okay? Those kids still remain. If their schools aren't performing well, they deserve better. The federal government owes them a decent education, not something that fails to teach them the basics of American life. And here's the thing, if you want to choose traditional public schools, you should be able to choose those. The same way if you want to choose public charter schools, you should be able to choose those as well. I thought we were in a time where we said we trusted Black and brown parents. I thought we were in a time where we said that, we believe in these people's dignities and this people's ability and desire to have self-determination. So here's my common sense take. Traditional district schools have failed a lot of Black, brown, and low-income kids, and white kids too, if we're being honest. And there's been some charter schools that have also failed kids. Let's be very clear. There's no world where it makes sense to take away an option from families of color that are just doing their best to find quality education for their children. I'm not here to cape for charter schools or for charter education, but I am here to make sure that my people have as many opportunities as they want, not fewer when it comes to educating our kids. We should not trap our communities in schools that they don't feel work for them. While there are some good ideas contained in Biden's spring proposal, to enact all of these rule changes would harm too many of our kids. It is time for the administration to head back to the drawing board and actually listen to those Black, brown, poor parents, families, students that say that this is what they actually want. All we gotta do is listen. Again, I'm Dr. Charles Cole III. See y'all on the next one. Peace.